Hey there, viewers, subscribers, and newcomers. Welcome back. I'm Retro Knight. Surrender now or prepare to fight. We are back with Regulation 8, our first format that doesn't have all these cruddy legendaries. I'm more excited than you are because there is a team we have to talk about that is running the format, and it is Basculegion Balance. This is my interesting take on it. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, what you would change, and let's go into the team. We've got Wind Rider Shiftry along Drifblim to lead this off. And we've got the Helping Hand boosted Normal Gem Explosion that we do work with the Shiftry. We've also got the Flame Orb for the Flare boost because Drifblim gets a lot of special attack. And we can utilize that with our Instruct Oranguru to double attack into things like Goldango and Ghosts that we can knock out with 2 Shadow Balls, and coincidentally, Basculegion. As Drifblim under Tailwind can outspeed Rain Dance or Swift Swim boosted Basculegion, as mine particularly actually invests in more bulk than I actually do the full force speed needed for that. We can also use Instruct Oranguru to double attack with Shiftry before we decide to go boom, as we're not holding a choice band. And actually the normal gem does a lot more damage than choice band. At the last minute I did decide to add Helping Hand. This Strength Sap was actually Protect originally, and we changed it back to Strength Sap just to have some more healing in the team, and also just to get rid of some things attack that could be problematic later on. So the Shiftry and Drifblim alongside the Oranguru kind of lead the squad, as the Drifblim actually sets up the Tailwind and also sets up the Flare boost to utilize with Oranguru. Of course, with Basculegion, there is Rain, and we have Hurricane, of course, to trigger into the slot to the Shiftry so that we can boost and set up our Wind Power. Tailwind to also set up Wind Power, and then we have Surf because most of our Pokemon are resistant to Surf or have Telepathy. The Amoonguss has Terrestrialization Water Terrestrialization. Basculegion doesn't take much at all because we're bulk invested. Oranguru has Telepathy. And then everything else also has Protect. So Surf actually does more damage, and I have yet to see Wide Guard in this format. This was the idea that I had. Basically, Shiftry blows up, can kill off some of your other Pokemon, setting up Last Respect's Basculegion. And then, of course, Amoonguss also to help out Basculegion to get HP back with, like, Pollen Puff. And let me tell you something, Instruct Liquidation and Instruct Last Respects is so powerful. It's just incredible. However, it's not unstoppable, and you're going to see that in this series that I have for you. A best of 3 series featuring our team here with the Wind Rider Shiftry. Instruct to do double attacks with Basculegion, Shiftry, and sometimes even Pelipper, but also Drifblim. And then just going over that Liquidation, Last Respects, just those 2 attacks that work so perfectly with high attack and boosted under the Instruct to do those double attacks. That's the last look at the team. Let's go ahead and jump into the first game. Alright, our first game. If you guys missed the team preview, go ahead and click back. But a quick rundown of the team for those of you that didn't get to the team preview. Here we go. Normal Gem, Explosion, Shiftry, Tailwind, Flare Boost, Drifblim, good old standard Foul Play, Trick Room, Instruct Oranguru, bulky Basculegion with the Swift Swim, Cobra Berry Amoonguss that in case it can't terrestrialize into water can take a flying attack, and of course Pelipper. And we are leading off with a very heated battle here. My opponent GG has the Grimmsnarl, Incineroar, Superior, Rotom Wash, Corviknight, and that pesky Mimikyu. I'm thinking here, I'm looking at what I want to do here. Incineroar can be a bit of an issue. However, what's really cool is even if you, I guess, hit or fake out Pelipper, it's whatever. I'm looking at this like I can set up my Tailwind and Explosion, depending on what his leads are going to end up being. And that's kind of my mindset going into this very first game with GG. And you will see his lead is a very fire lead. No pun intended. As we get into it, let's get into these heated battles. Guys, let me know if you enjoyed the music we're kicking in today. Drop a comment down below. And let me know if you like this commentary type. And I've got a big surprise for you. But I think I'll just let YouTube and videos speak for themselves as we go into this first game. Grimmsnarl and Superior on the opposing side. I am a little bit worried about Stellar Superior. There's also a situation in which the Grimmsnarl can outspeed my Shiftry, and I don't know what the Superior can do to me. If it can knock me out in one hit, that's going to ruin my entire explosion strategy. I am very curious if this is going to be Life Orb, Choice Scarf, Choice Specs, or how this is going to be set up with the Superior. Definitely going to be a Contrary Superior. That's the only way they run these things. I decide to Protect on the first turn as I get my Tailwind up so I can get my Wind Rider ability active as he decides to Parting Shot into my active Shiftry spot. That doesn't do anything at all because I did Protect, and of course I Protect on the Tera Blast, which I now see is the Fire type. I don't know if I can live that. I'm very, very concerned. As I set up the Tailwind, I'm thinking, okay, I can just Explode and at least knock this thing down to Sash if it has Focus Sash, but also take it out as well. Although, I'm pretty sure it's got the Life Orb as opposed to the Focus Sash. That being said, I do set up that Tailwind and get my Wind Rider active. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to utilize my normal gem just because I have Basculegion in the back alongside Pelipper to set up with Rain and Swift Swim and utilize that power level. Guys, I realize Basculegion is in a lot of different teams. I did try Barrascuda as well. I wasn't a fan of it. While I don't have to worry about being outsped by Basculegion, my variant has more defenses. Okay, here comes this Tera Blast Fire. Come on, Shiftry. I need you to live this. Shiftry lives it on 3 HP. Oh, it's a massive explosion. Focus Sash. It doesn't affect Drifblim. Also, we have Oranguru as well. With that normal gem, we do knock out all 3 of our Pokemon. Our Shifter, the opposing Grimmsnarl, and the opposing Superior. That was really cool going Scary Face into Superior to outspeed me even after Trick Room or after Tailwind. That was a really brilliant play on my opponent's part. So big props to him. Got some really cool teams that I'm hoping to see. That being said, I am going to be playing in Global Challenge 2025 simply because it is your first points towards, World Championship 2025. I don't know if I'm going to be using this team. I do like this team a lot. I do want to work with it a lot in Regulation H. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bunch of different Pokemon videos for Regulation H, but I'm also going to focus really hard on one particular team that I want to bring to Global Challenge 2025. And believe me, creatively wise, I really like this team. So I'm going to bring in the Basculegion here. And I bring in the Pelipper on the other slot. What I'm kind of thinking here is, at some point he's probably going to want to, if he is carrying Will-O-Wisp and Incineroar, which was very common in Worlds, Mimikyu also gets Will-O-Wisp, and I think it's kind of like a really good mitigation tactic, because if you are up against the Basculegion, you have that disguise to get a chance to possibly get a burn on an opposing Basculegion. I do see that coming as I go out into my Pelipper here, and that is completely fine, as I'm going to get that Drizzle set up onto the field here. I do go for the Strength Sap, which weakens the Mimikyu's attack power. It does not break the disguise, but weakening the attack is also really nice regardless, as Drifblim now gets recovered all. And he is on Extreme Basculegion radar because he burns my Pelipper slot, predicting it to be the Basculegion, and then follows it up with the knockoff. Yeah, we do not like Basculegion around here. It's definitely like a Basculegion eat world here. It's a fish eat fish world out here. So the Pelipper does take a little bit of damage from that burn, but that's okay. We do still have our Tailwind up, and my thought process here is to go for the Helping Hand alongside the Surf. Even if we knock out our own Drifblim, we do have that Last Respects in the back that we can get boosted off by knocking out both the Drifblim and getting our Pelipper knocked out. So that's kind of our idea here, as the Shadow Sneak does come through. After the Strength Sap, it doesn't do a whole lot of anything as he gets hit by the Life Orb, and in comes the Surf as the Disguise now gets broken on the Mimikyu. We knock out the Drifblim and the Incineroar, so that is very, very nice. The Incineroar going down is phenomenal, so now I don't have to worry about that. Even though I did have the Rain to outspeed the Incineroar, now I don't have to worry about it alongside the Mimikyu. So, because I don't have the Instruct into the double liquidation play, which is one of my favorite plays. The Tailwind does peter out, but now we have that Mystic Water Basculegion in the back with enough bulk, and a Mimikyu that can't do a whole lot now that its attack has been reduced to nothing. So, I decided at this point to go ahead and go for that Terastallization with the Water Liquidation, and I can also go for Surf, but Hurricane also never misses in the rain, so we could just go for that as Game 1 ends just like that. Thank you so much, GG, for the game, and let's jump into Game 2. You know, I said we'd have some hot fire battles, but I didn't expect a Sun Team. I'm just kidding, yes I did. This looks like the After You into the Eruption Torkoal, set up by Tailwind Eruption along Hisuian Typhlosion, one of the premier strong threats in Regulation H. Will I be able to handle the heat, or will I get burnt to a cinder? Let's find out. Let's find out what we want to do here. I'm thinking we kind of want to set up our explosion situation, because my thought process is even if he leads his Tailwind user, I can lead mine and do damage to whatever he wants to go for there. And then, of course, I need to bring the Rain and Basculegion, and I feel like a lot of times with this team, especially just starting out like here, I should have definitely brought the Rain. I don't think it really would have mattered, though, just because Eruption is so strong. But bringing the Rain to also have the Aqua Jet, considering he decided not to bring in DD, would have made a huge splash of a difference. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. Let's get into the battle and see how it went down with Liam. This is Game 2 of our series. Guys, if you are enjoying this series and you are enjoying Regulation H, be sure to hit a like button and leave a comment down below on the video to let me know that you like the video and the effort that gets put into it. I think the Explosion Wind Rider team is really cool. Also, if you want to see Brambleghast in that spot, let me know as well. I'm down for double ghosts. It's extra power against things like Basculegion, and it still gets the Wind Rider and can do other residual damage and support the team generally other ways. So, right here, I'm going to go for my Tailwind. Even if Whimsicott sets up Tailwind into Eruption, I will be faster with Shiftry because Torkoal is absolutely slow, as I decided to protect on my very first turn. The biggest issue here that I could see is, while he's not worried about Fake Out, I guess he kind of could be, considering Shiftry can carry it. If he was going to go Ghost with that Whimsicott, that would create kind of an issue, simply because I wouldn't be able to explode on it, and I would lose a lot of what's going on with the team here. But in comes this super strong Eruption. Torkoal's Eruption is nothing to play around with, because he did not Terastallize into Fire. My Drifblim not only lives it, but it gets burned. Oh, it gets burned by the Flame Orb, not by the Eruption. Eruption can't burn. Come on now. But, you know, the Flame Orb is nice. I decide to explode on this turn. I do risk it for the biscuit, predicting the Whimsicott to go possibly into the Ghost Terastallization. I guess they do that so that they don't have to be faked out, but I mean, they can just run Covert, Cloak, and Dark so that they can't be taunted or faked out, although you can't really taunt a Prankster user anyway. As you find out here with the Encore, as he tries to Encore me into the Protect, that Dark type comes in huge benefit there to be resistant to those Prankster moves. It's a massive explosion! Of course, it doesn't affect Drifblim. The Normal Gem gives it that super power boost, and Torkoal and Whimsicott do go down. So that is very nice. Never did I ever think a Shiftry would make it into a thumbnail that I had, or much more so a video that I produced, because I've never been a huge fan of Shiftry. When it came out, it wasn't a very good Pokemon in Generation 3. It couldn't utilize its physical attack very well, and it just never really got anything. But then Scarlet and Violet decided to bless it with wind power, and then we were cooking with gas, ladies and gentlemen. He brings in this premier threat, Hisuian Typhlosion, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I could go for a Flare Boost Shadow Ball and hopefully take it out from this range. We both do have our Tailwind up on the field, but I'm pretty sure Double Speed Drifblim is faster. But then in my mind, I was like, okay, he's got Scarf. There's no reason to Rage Powder. He's probably just going to Scarf the Eruption, and that is a huge problem. Now, in the back of my mind, too, I've got the Basculegion in the back thinking, because he's got the Sun up, I need to preserve my Terastallization, and I make a horrible play here. Because, yeah, he Terastallizes into fire, and let me tell you something. Water Amoonguss does not take Eruption from the likes of Hisuian Typhlosion. Maybe its special attack is so much higher levels-wise that even a Water Amoonguss, and I should not have done this, because I could have very easily, at some point, brought in the Basculegion, Terrasilize into the water. We had our Tailwind up, and then once his Tailwind goes down, I could outspeed it. However, Eruption Hisuian Typhlosion is nothing like his original Johto counterpart. It has much more special attack and is very virulent, as you will see here with this Eruption into a water specially defensive Amoonguss. Nah, that got incinerated. That got burned to a crisp. And spoiler alert, I don't know if you guys like fish sticks, but Basculegion can't take this hit either. And because the sun is still up, Aqua Jet is a thing. Now, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, Eruption's a spread move. And I guess, in hindsight, I suppose Water Terrestrialization Aqua Jet would have done a lot of damage to Typhlosion, but I don't think I could have lived the ensuing headlong rush from the Amoonguss, or from the Ursaluna. My thought process was to use Rage Powder to redirect its attack, but if it's attacking both Pokemon, there's absolutely no point to try to do any kind of redirection. And I guess Basculegion is just less specially bulky. As we go for the Protect on this turn, waiting for both Tailwinds to drop. And I guess what I didn't realize is that Tailwind would have actually helped me out. There's a possibility I could have outsped him. I do think he is Choice Scarfed. I'm not 100% sure, but if he was Choice Scarfed, at some point we might have been able to deal with it. But that's kind of crazy to think about, that something with really decent, I guess, special defense and really decent special bulk can't take an Eruption from Typhlosion, from Hisuian Typhlosion. It doesn't have any extra power bonuses or anything like that. I do decide to go for Last Respects, thinking I can outspeed it. And, you know, Rage Powder is just pointless here, because Ursaluna can take it out, and everything else can take it out. What do you guys think? Do you think I should have Water Terrestrialization into Aqua Jet? Do you think it would have done anything? Do you think I would have possibly lived this Eruption? Maybe not. I feel like we still would have been the Water type, and we get fried to an absolute crisp without Helping Hand, just with the sun. That might have even been Choice Specs, so we might have been able to outspeed it had we brought the Rain. I definitely feel like I should have brought the Rain in Game 2. You know, I feel like you learn a lot from losses. Great game, Liam. Thank you so much for inciting my heart, and really a great battle, man. So we're going to jump into Game 3, the final game of this series. It is time we move into Game 3, and Game 3 is just as spicy. I've saved the absolute best for last. If you guys are still here, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are incredible. Got some new people checking me out in the Discord, talking to me in the Discord. We've got a game versus Agoose, and Agoose takes creativity to the next level. He has a Chimecho and a Glaceon. I have no other words. Chimecho, Glaceon, Crocodile. Sorry, I can't say it like him and Jay. Mienshao, Zoroark, and Vileplume. This is going to be really, really hard to decide what I want to bring. This team is all over the place, and spoiler alert, you know, we're talking about Basculegion balance, and we're going to cover something very, very important in this video. I'm thinking I really do want to bring the Rain. I don't see Offensive Sun. I don't see a lot of things that just jump out at me to be really offensive. I know Amoonguss Water would be good to deal with Glaceon. Kind of the explosion in the back just to kind of get some residual damage and knock out some threats and do just a bunch of damage and lead into my Basculegion play. So that is also a thing. However, my opponent Agoose is very, very prepared for Basculegion, but don't take my word for it. Let's see how it went down in the video. Alrighty, Agoose versus Retro. This is going to be one heck of a game. Let's go ahead and jump into it and see how it went down. Glaceon and Mienshao lead this game. I've got Pelipper leading a Rangaroo. My idea here is to do a lot of residual damage, basically to him in general with Surf. Surf can hit both players. Now, I do gotta be careful because Mienshao could be carrying Wide Guard. Of course, with the Wide Guard, he'll be able to take any Surfs that I throw at him with Pelipper. I think you might be asking, why not Weather Ball? And that's because a lot of the types in this team are resistant to the water attacks. So Surf, while it does a small bit of residual damage to everything on my team, I feel like everything on the team takes it decent enough that it's a very viable thing. But it's also double spread damage with Instruct, which is really cool. Now there is a lot more base power with Weather Ball, and I might consider it moving forward. So I'm thinking he's probably just going to Fake Out with Mienshao. And I learned in this particular turn that Fake Out does not work alongside Instruct. He makes a phenomenal play. He goes into Electric, which is the only... means his only weakness is Ground, which he could easily knock out with Ice. And with Ice. And let me tell you something. It doesn't even matter, because Glaceon actually has really decent bulky defenses, and let me show you the first play that this man makes. He terastallizes into Electric and eviscerates my Pelipper, or electrocutes my Pelipper completely off of the map. So there will be no more Surfs, and of course he flinches Oranguru. So that entire first turn didn't work out. So I'm thinking, okay, while it has really decent special bulk, I'm not sure how good its physical defense bulk is, and I don't have the Tailwind up. But what I was kind of thinking is, okay, I don't really necessarily need to protect or do anything like that. I could just set up the Trick Room. It's just very interesting what he wants to go for. Now, in the back of my mind, I know Shao does have U-Turn, and I'm sure at some point I was like, hey, Retro, you probably should Terastallize to take the U-Turn that's oncoming. Probably be a good idea. And Shao is really, really fast. A lot faster than a lot of other Pokemon. Keep in mind, I don't have my Tailwind up, so my Shiftry isn't near as fast. I'm just going by base speeds here, and because Retro doesn't know speed tiers, we find out the hard way that Shao is much faster than Shiftry. That is quite unfortunate, just to lose Shiftry just like that to the explosion. And Auguste does return the Mienshao, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I do still have the Basculegion. I still have the Instruct into Basculegion play with the Rainum, so I do still have some pretty good offensive presence. However, my opponent is very prepared for this, as he goes out to Vileplume the Gorgeous, and the Ice Beam does do a pretty decent chunk to Oranguru. Luckily, I am specially defensive, or I would not take that well. However, that answers my question about Glaceons. Although Glaceon doesn't ever run attack EVs, it kind of has no necessity for it. As I go out to Basculegion here, and you guys don't notice it yet, but in the back he's actually got something not only to lower my attack with Intimidate, but, well, you'll see. So here I'm thinking, okay, I've got my Instruct into Liquidation. I could also go for Instruct into Last Respects, and you're going to see why that ends up mattering. I'm going to show you in just a second. So the Vileplume nor the Glaceon can outspeed me. Luckily, we don't have the Trick Room up, otherwise they both would outspeed me quite easily, as I do Terastallize into Water Terastallization. Now, even though I only have 2 Pokemon on my side of the field, Last Respects would have done enough damage to Glaceon to knock it out, but it also would have done more damage to Vileplume. As you're going to see here, the Liquidation, of course, takes out the Glaceon because the Water Terastallization alongside the Rain. However, we most definitely should have gone for Last Respects, because Instruct into Last Respects would have done a ton of damage to this Vileplume, as you are going to see on this turn how much a Water Terastallization Liquidation does. After a defense drop, it also sets up the defense drop here. So here comes that Water Terastallization. I'm honestly thinking that we would have killed it with Last Respects. We do get hit by the Rocky Helmet, and then he goes for the Strength Sap. And he is not done humiliating me quite yet. My opponent Auguste in the back does have the Crocodile. And the Crocodile, of course, does have the Intimidate. And it also is faster than Oranguru to knock it out with its knockoff before I can go for my double Instruct combination. And let's keep in mind what we have here. We have Mienshao, which can Fake Out the Basculegion, but as long as I don't take too much damage and the Rain's still up, I can knock it out with Aqua Jet. Last Respects would have knocked out Vileplume, and we would have been in a situation where I could have protected with Oranguru, predicting Crocodile to attack it, and then knocked him out as well. As you see, this Liquidation does plenty. If Vileplume was out of the way, we would be sitting with just the Mienshao to Aqua Jet it, And we would be protecting the Oranguru to save it from the knockoff, and we would be able to take this game with a narrow 1-0. However, from this range, because the Vileplume is still around, is an easy 2-hit KO, being the Water Terastallization, not having that Ghost to have that neutrality as we go for the last respects here, as you're going to see that damage here, and you'll be like, okay, without the attack, you would have knocked it out. And you're right. He goes on into Mienshao here, and I'm not sure 100% why. Mienshao can definitely die to the Aqua Jet. Here comes his last respects. Look at that damage. That damage definitely would have taken out the Vileplume. So, my last respects to you guys. Thank you guys for watching. You've been incredible for sticking around this long, and welcome back to Regulation H. I've got huge plans, but I'm not going to reveal them. I'll let the videos do that for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and until next time, power on, power off. Great team, August. Great team. Leave your suggestions and comments for changing the team in the comment section down below. Join the Discord with the link down below in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.